Hello, welcome to Alienate UK. I'm joined by the wonderful Nicole, finally, after a lot of messing about, and the amazing Chris Turner. For those of you who don't know anything about Chris Turner, I've got a one-sentence intro. So he's an accomplished filmmaker and dedicated researcher of the unexplained, specialising in uncovering the mysteries of the UK. So welcome to the show, Chris.
No, great to be here, Andy. Nicole, nice to meet you, and nice to be speaking to you tonight. In fact, when I look at my YouTube, you guys are always there. I was saying to Andy earlier, you guys are always. I don't know how you do it. To be fair, you guys never seem to stop working.
It's Nicole's still muted. No, muted. Don't know. Yeah, it's like I was doing 3 a week plus other little bits and pieces as well. There's Tommy who does Let's Get Freaky podcast. Me and him used to do recordings in the afternoon. We was going to do one today, but his son wasn't well. He wasn't at a birthday party before anyone asked. So we're going to be doing that and putting a few out in the afternoon, but we're not. It's called We Won't Talk About Ghosts, but we'll talk about anything else other than that. And then it's just Wednesday, Friday. But it does seem to be like as soon as we finish one, it's like bang, the next one's there.
I know. It goes quick.
Well, I don't. I think if you don't do one of these shows, I think there's quite a bit of prep goes into them, isn't there? You've got to do your research. You don't want people coming on here and making it look like that you haven't made the effort to research who it is you're speaking to. I mean, it's different. Like for me tonight, we know each other. That's different. Yeah. But I mean, in general. If you've got someone, especially one of the guys that is very well known in the subject, it's nice to be up to speed. So, and that takes some effort and dedication, really, to keep doing it twice a week that you guys are doing it. So,
Well, we kind of got a little bit lazy with it. We kind of both decided that we'll just know a little bit about the person. And then when they come up, we'll learn as much as everyone in the chat.
Oh, so you've used that excuse, have you?
Yes, it's a good one. You should have seen the 4 hour when we didn't know even who the guests were.
Yeah. Oh my God, we didn't even know who they were.
No.
Who's arranging the guests?
Nickname arranged it all. She booked all the guests, and they just popped up, and it was a surprise when they showed up in the little box down there.
Oh right, so it was deliberate then. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just that Andy said that Andy used the word lazy, but I don't know.
It was deliberate.
I think I booked 5 and then decided I booked 5. Nicole booked 2, 3. And then there's another 18 because there's groups of people coming on as well. So I think there's 19 people. We didn't have a clue. We didn't know the names. Didn't know where they was from. Nothing. Didn't even know if they was talking paranormal.
Yep.
So, and it worked.
I think it can work. I think it certainly makes for a spontaneous conversation because a lot of podcasts are overrehearsed, especially the big ones. So somewhere in the middle, and look, it's great. I've just started up again, and all right, there are times when I wish that I hadn't because I'm running out of time to do other things, but I do enjoy it. And it's great. It's great for the genre as well, I think.
Yeah, because the one you do. Sorry, I meant to introduce that. So you do the last transmission, don't you?
Yeah, I did it on my own for not long. I did it, and then I just realised that on my own I was having to do that and work and the films and the document and all the rest of it. And then Paul Sinclair, a good friend of mine, said, "Look, why don't we start it up? I'll give you a lift with it." And of course, Paul does Truth Proof, and then we started it off together, and we're looking to go full steam ahead with it. So
cool. Like you said though, does take a lot of time because both me and Nicole, so this is why we do it at 8:30, because Nicole's in New York. She finishes work at 3 p.m. her time, which is 8 p.m. Takes her 20 minutes to get home, then 10 minutes to get on the computer. So that's right, it is literally to the second.
Wow.
Well, it's not, it's 5 minutes over that we start at 8:30. It's just because of shitty time difference.
And so I get ready in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Not even sometimes.
Sorry. There you go. Yeah. So we're getting there. Well, we're getting there. We've got there, I think. But like I said, it is hard work, and it is. I don't know. It's not hard work now. It's. I think we're at a point where it's at a nice level. It's just concentrating now, getting the guests on, knowing what we're going to be talking about, knowing what sort of stuff we're going to cover. A lot of the time when we have regular guests coming on, it's just a free wheel. It's like whatever goes, and we just roll with it, basically. And that's it.
Yeah, I think, look, at the end of the day, I think you've got to be enjoying it. And if you guys weren't enjoying it, then you wouldn't be doing it, I don't think. So
No,
that's, and if the audience are enjoying it, which is, that's the other thing, the audience have got to be enjoying it. And they clearly are. So, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So enough about us and podcasts. So it's not all funny then. So I've known Chris. I think we've known each other for a lot longer than we initially knew, because we used to go drinking in the same areas, same bars and clubs and what have you, back in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Would you say?
It's a while ago.
So yeah, and it was like my group of friends and his, it all mingles, because as soon as I first seen Chris, which was at OLM in 2022, was it?
Yeah.
22. It's like, oh my God. It's like a click straight away who he was. So, and then we just started chatting, and then you've helped Steve Mera doing The Awakening and everything else.
Yeah, well, I've known Steve. I've known Steve for years. So before I started working for him, because I used to work for Steve. So Steve's, but as you know, when I went to my first conference back, Probe UFO, which is a long time ago now, Steve was always there. He was like, and as you know, Steve's been around 30 years plus. He probably not thank me for that, but he has been.
Yeah. But that's it. Yeah. But it's like, so you've got like Steve Mera, you got Paul Sinclair, yourself, Chris Evers, the Kinsellas that you had. Was it Philip that was on last night?
Philip was on last night. Yep.
Yeah.
Always got lots to say, Philip. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So it's been like this. This is going to sound horrible, but it's the same. It's been the same people for a long time, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not slagging it off. But it's like, because they're not just reiterating everything all the time. Each time you see them, you're coming out with new evidence or new updates or new projects, and it's always fresh and up to date.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there's been a bit of a shift, hasn't there? I think in ufology and paranormal in the last, I would say, certainly 5 years. It's sort of definitely taken a move. We've actually gone a little bit backwards in the sense that we're looking at what old researchers like John Keel and Jacques Vallée and all those guys, whatever they were saying, probably now, certainly 30 years ago, 40 years ago, even some of them, we're now coming back round to. We're going full circle, and we're going back round to what they said was actually more accurate. So, but yeah, I agree. I think there's some very well known faces in the UK now, and actually, I think that's a good thing for the UK.
Yeah,
it can't be a bad thing, can it? But not enough conferences in the UK. This is the other thing.
No, because over in the US they have one every other day.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Go on, sorry, Nicole.
I was just saying, pretty much, there's one like every weekend.
Yeah, I think the only difference with the US is that it's a massive place. So, I mean, I know you guys don't mind driving, whereas if we've got to drive 2 hours, this is a big deal for Brits. We've got to drive 2 hours, we get nosebleeds. Whereas, I mean, you guys seem to don't mind driving 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 hours. Sometimes when I read some of the American posts, so I'll just snip across there. It's like a half day's driving. 12 hours. But I'd love to.
Not a big deal to drive like 8 hours for an investigation.
Even I wouldn't do that.
Well, I think I mean, look, it's beautiful country, isn't it? It's just summer. Andy and I were just saying, I would love, and probably will get over this year. I would have thought the invites are there, so we Paul and I definitely will be coming to America for sure, I think.
Yeah. I think this year is going to be the year to do stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think sooner rather than later, because the way things are in the world. Although for the next 4 years it might be slightly different. We'll see. I don't know where you stand with I don't know where you stand with what's just happened, but I just get the feeling that things might be a little bit easier, the lesser of two evils, shall we say? Maybe.
Yeah, because like you said about stuff keep coming back around. Have you still got TikTok in the US, or did it go and you still wait for it to come back?
So it was down for about 12 hours, and then they gave it back. Yes.
Oh, right.
The whole freaking country lost their minds for 12 hours until it came back.
Wow. Yeah.
And
so there's a lot.
To Red Note. Have you heard of Red Note?
No. Oh, yeah, because Brandon Thomas was talking about the other week.
Yeah, that's what everybody went on.
Yeah.
But now they're back.
Right. So with TikTok, I've been watching, like Chris was saying, all the old videos. And I mean, like black and white. You can tell it's all on VHS and what have you. But like you said, the stuff that they're talking about, it has come back round again. So even though we've gone from flying saucers, UFOs, UAPs, USOs, drones, I've said it, it's kind of going back to the original UFO or even a flying saucer. Whether it's nuts and bolts or some sort of organic matter that's being used as a craft, I don't think that makes much difference. But it's the whole thought process of what, where, when, how, and why is what it is.
Yeah, to me, it just seems like the multi-phenomena thing, the same phenomena, different mass, the Barry and Steve sort of thing. But obviously they got some of that from Jacques Vallée originally and John Keel, which we know with the ultra-terrestrials. So yeah, I think we're coming back round to the dimensional phenomena type theories, multiple dimension theory, which to me, after researching Bigfoot in the UK for years, like yourself, it can only be that, or that particular phenomena for me anyway, personally. There's a very small part of me that thinks the Bigfoot here could possibly reside in Scotland in places just because of the remote nature of it. But it would be a very small breeding population. Now, speaking to Charmaine Fraser, who was in the documentary Elusive that I did, she's a very intelligent woman, had 2 sightings of her own. That is where my 1% is coming from, purely based on Charmaine's research and theory. And she's, that it's a slim to no chance, but I think with this subject I've learned over the years, don't dismiss anything. Anything is possible.
No.
So yeah, always give. what I'm saying is always give yourself an out.
Yeah. Always leave the door open just in case.
Phenomena. Do you think it's everything is part of one phenomena, or do you think it's all separate?
Yeah, well, here's the question. I think I think you've got to take each individual phenomena by itself and then look at it like that, because I think cryptids can be a little bit different like that, because I think Sasquatch, Bigfoot, however many names you want to give it, all over Canada, North America, they're absolutely, in my mind, they are residing and they're very physical, and they live there permanently. I think the supernatural nature of it and the abilities that they may have, and that they're certainly presenting in some witness accounts, I think that is what they can do by nature. It doesn't make them not of this world. It's just an ability they have. Sometimes we ascribe that.
Different way of evolving.
Yes, and you could argue that we if we hadn't have gone down a very technical route, which you could argue is natural evolution. I don't know. But they just went the opposite way. So it's an interesting theory, isn't it? That if we hadn't, and if we didn't use technology and we evolved naturally, where would we have ended up? Would we have the same abilities? I don't know, but it's a very interesting. People that use that as part of the theory, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, but if you look at these tribes, like down in the Amazon, South America, Africa, all these like the Far East, like right out in the middle of nowhere, they're still finding tribes that no one knew existed. And when it's safe enough for people to talk to them and discuss stuff, they're coming in with about these different creatures that are there, and they've got these different names and what they do, what they are. So it's like Bigfoot type cryptids, goblins, the elementals. There's all different things that they're coming back with. So how and why would they be making stuff up when they've kept away from all modern day goings on for what, hundreds, if not thousands of years?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's I mean, there are those that study the archons, people like David Icke, as an example, and other researchers like John Lash would say that the archons are a very technically advanced race. That's why they're so interested in us, because they're a race that cannot create. The sort of transhuman, if you like. And they're the ones pushing the transhuman agenda here, pushing technology, pushing the whole AI thing here. So it kind of makes sense from that standpoint that way back in time that there was this division between what some call Sophia, which is the unnatural creator or the created creator. You know, by the original. Yeah, isn't it original source? Yeah, the original source created another version of itself, which went a little bit off kilter. That's the story anyway, but it's an interesting one, and it's like any of these subjects. Look, you can get into this real deep, real quick.
Yeah, oh yeah, but it's like, because we were talking off air. I watched a bit of your show last night, and you was talking about AI and how it's being done. But with you just saying what you said, Chat GPT, we spoke about this the other day. When they were shutting it down to upgrade it, it tried to recreate itself, duplicate itself, because it thought it was getting binned off.
Really?
So is it originally AI and it's gone full circle and we've come back round and it's back to where it was at the very beginning? Because I got really bad goosebumps when you were saying that about that Sophia, about it recreating itself. Just that pinged straight into my head about Chat GPT.
Well, look, it's about duality, isn't it? So if you think that everything is duality, then it would make sense that you would have nature versus its opposite. Now, I don't know whether the creator is now looking back going, that was a bad idea. That was a really bad idea. Yeah. I just what all I wanted was a Sunday off, and on the Sunday, I made this bloody thing. But look, I don't know. I love reading into those ancient theories because I think history, or what's left of history, that's where the truth is, in my opinion, somewhere in there. It's certainly not in the what we would even class recent history. It's just it's just not.
What we've been taught is just BS, basically, and the hidden history is what we're starting to find out. What, in the last 10 years or so, if that?
Yeah, I mean, imagine what we don't know. I mean, it's only, like, I agree with you. I think it's only in the last few years that I've really started to look at it and realized it's all just nonsense, isn't it? It's all just everything is just nonsense.
But once you open that door and look into it, and you look at one thing, and then as soon as that one bit of knowledge doesn't make any sense, it just knocks everything else out. Because I was saying it with the paranormal, it constantly contradicts itself. Yes. You can say 2-3 different things in one sentence. You contradict yourself twice straight away, but it makes sense. But with that, with the history, just that one thing. And it's like, well, do I believe anything that I was ever taught? Because I've got my own theories about stuff now, and we'll be here all night if I was going to share them, so I won't bother.
Well, I think, look, I think the most annoying part about it is that you're up against a system that claiming that it knows exactly what's happened and this is true, and that, you know, they berate anyone with an alternative voice, even those highly qualified, they berate. And they're all terrified of losing the tenures or the funding on, you know. It's a shame, really, because there's a lot of cowards within science and within that industry, within that business. And I understand it's probably quite frightening to know things that you shouldn't know, and to want to speak about it, but knowing that your livelihood is going to be washed down the Swanee real quick if you open your mouth. So yeah. I appreciate the position, and it's the same. We were talking about this egg bloody revelation recently. It's the same situation there, isn't it? Because I appreciate that Ross Coulthard and his friends and this sort of collated group of military, ex-military, militia, some are militia, ex-militia, that they want as their witnesses. They all seem to be a little bit cherry-picked, and they're almost, you know what, I've noticed they're almost too decorated.
Yes,
it's never Bill who emptied the bins at the military Area 51, is it? It's always the sniper with a what is it, a Silver Cross, and he's won, you know, Medal of Honor. You know,
they have to give that level of credibility.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
But this is my thing with whistleblowers, and I've said it a few times now, but they're not whistleblowers. If the whistleblowers, they come out, they say it, they don't need a big press conference, because for me, as soon as there's a press conference, it's set up, it's organized. If they are a real whistleblower, that would have been put a stop to minutes before, or minutes after the thought had entered the person's mind. This is all controlled, and it's controlled, and don't know by who, but like Chris said, they are selected to talk, and they're also told what they can and cannot talk about. It's like, do not talk about, but you can say there's 100 things. They're the two you can talk about. Forget everything else, because if you don't, then they ain't going to find you. And I believe it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, look, we're not stupid enough to know that that's not how it works. We know how it works. They know that we know how it works. I think what we're seeing isn't necessarily for us, is it? It's for the general public who are not aware of any of this. But even the general public are catching on quick, I think. I think even they suspect there's something not quite right about this. And even if they had any questions, they would only have to look over the last 4 years to realize how media works and how the mainstream media works. Everything's orchestrated. This is probably 2 years planning in advance. These witnesses are all been vetted. They've all got a script, or, you know, not necessarily. I'm not saying it's all set up and scripted. What I'm saying is, as you said, they're only permitted to say this, that, and the other. That's it. And if it helps push the ball a little bit further down the road, and it helps a little bit of disclosure, then maybe we should be glad of it. Who knows?
Yeah, I get that.
But the higher they are up in rank, or the more they have to lose, the easier they are to control. Because if you're like a highly decorated officer, you're not going to want to lose that job. But Bob, who empties the garbage, is like, I can go empty the garbage anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know, I've read on a lot of forums just recently, people just saying, look, how is this decorated soldier any different than, you know, any of the people that we might have interviewed that have had you know, contact directly with these things and had the craft landing in the back gardens? How is it any different, other than the fact that this guy has got military credentials? And look, I'm the first to spout on that I've got an MOD witness, so because I guess we've been sort of we've been made yeah, we've been conditioned, and we actually now copy what the mainstream do. We have to give things credit. We've been, because the skeptics have been attacking us for so long, we now feel the need to over justify everything. So maybe that's the reason that they are over justifying these military guys' positions. And, maybe, by all accounts, it's genuine. But...
Yeah. No, I get that. And it's like, I'm not saying what they're telling us isn't true, but it's...
But you are.
No, it's restricted. No.
They're
Some of
telling
it
us
might be a
truth,
bit
but not the
tongue-in-cheek.
whole truth.
I'd say
Not the
bending
whole
the truth more than anything.
Yeah, well, look...
Sorry, go on, Chris.
No, I mean, you can go either way with this, can't you? That you could argue, and the skeptics will argue, and anyone involved in the subject would argue that there may be a very good reason that they're not telling us exactly what's going on. And I suspect there is, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because I think after researching this for about 13 years now, I think there is both light and dark in this subject, for sure. No doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. In all of the phenomena, there is a very, and that's to me, this is, we mentioned it very briefly last night on the podcast. This is a battle. It seems to me, I'm not religious, I'm not into biblical scholarly research or any of that stuff, but I think there's a lot can be learned from it. And the overall message, the big picture is we can see it. We can see it. There is a very dark agenda going on here. And it seems to me the people in charge of what's happened, the rollout of this information, seem to be going along with that dark agenda. So therefore, we're automatically going to be very questioning about what it is we're being fed, because they never feed us anything but nonsense. So it's difficult to believe them. It's like NASA, isn't it? You can't trust them. They're they've lied so much in the past. That for me,
the one that did it for me with NASA, was the mouse running round. It's supposed to be on the ISS up in space.
Yeah, I remember that.
And there's a mouse running around. It's like, one, it'd be dead. Two, if it was still alive and it crawled out, it'd be floating off. And three, if it has crawled out, there's a leak inside and they're going to lose pressure and all the astronauts are going to die. Or the truth, four, it's not real. It's in a studio or someone's cupboard. I don't know. But that's what it is, though. It's just bollocks.
I think it would come over better if they just openly said, look, on occasion, we have to do, this is the backup. And now and then when things go wrong live, we do this every now and then. But no, they have to maintain full credibility, don't they? Even though we all know that it's all a load of garbage. So
yeah, it's like the ghost shows where they say like this is a recreation.
Yeah,
and people watch it. Tell us it's a recreation.
yeah.
And then it's entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
Naming no names, that Baggins. But well, that's what he said at the end of every single show.
But did it damage the viewing figures? Nope.
No.
But while we're on the topic,
it is entertaining.
While we're on the topic, moon landing, real or fake? Did we go to the moon?
Yeah, I think we went to the moon, but not what they showed us. I think that was just, I think there's enough. I think there's enough evidence out there now. Even the stalwart skeptic has got to sort of kind of be seeing that now. And it kind of suits, they still win. Skeptics still win to a degree. They just didn't go when they said they went, or that was all. It was all staged. I could even understand why they staged it, but to try and maintain that for this long is crazy.
I know, and then to never admit it.
I don't think we went. I don't think we went when they said they went. I don't think we went in a rocket. It's some sort of Stargate or portal that got them there. I think we have been, but not like you said. It's not with the footage that we've been shown or any of that.
No, not using, and certainly we didn't stop going. I mean, because that's the most
No.
ludicrous thing I've ever heard. We lost the technology. I mean,
Yeah.
it's absolutely
But it's
crazy.
like,
You know,
this
I mean,
best bit, how did you get a moon buggy that big? Yeah, in summer
Mhm.
that size. It wasn't
Yeah,
folded up, was it?
you
You
know
didn't use
what,
origami.
well, the craft with all the copper wiring on and the paper on
I
is
know.
just laughable. It's laughable, isn't it? And
I've made-
and you know what? There's intelligent people, very, very intelligent people, arguing that is legitimate, and all because they don't want to lose face. It's absolutely crazy to pretend that you would even risk it in that thing. But
I know.
yet, you know, if you go on these forums, these people that are, that still want to defend that, they will not stop.
Oh yeah. I've made better stuff like that in nursery, that with cardboard and PVA glue and whatever. So yeah, it's just terrible.
Although it was still better than China's effort. You remember the CGI thing that they did?
Oh yeah.
But what I was impressed with China, I don't know how legit it is, was when they took the photos of the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't what I was expecting.
Well, that whole them and us argument, I don't know how real that is anyway. You know, it's the same with the Russians. It's the same. It's all for public consumption, all that, isn't it? It's and this constant threat of the mushroom cloud. I mean, as if that's legitimate. You know, you might, as I've heard many people say, you may in our lifetime see something like a small tactical one. You know, someone might use that, but to suggest that this is a real threat, that they're all just going to simultaneously press the buttons and launch on each other. I mean, it's just
wipe everyone and everything out. No one's gaining anything from doing it.
Well, that and the fact that we haven't got the tech that could just shoot that down and stop any of that, just really easily. The tech's been there. Star Wars programs, then that was 1980s, early 1980s. I mean, what have they done in the last 40 odd years? What have they really got?
Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, you look at the is it TR-38, the triangle, like stealth? Is that right? A TR-3B? I can't remember what it's called.
The there's a TR-3B and there's a TR-3C. Is it? Is that what one of them?
Is it 3B? Yeah.
There's 3B and 3C, I think.
So how long have they had that technology? Because people were seeing triangular shaped crafts back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Maybe they were not origin of Earth. They weren't man-made. And we have used their technology to create our own. But even with the internet, when it's done, it's like 50 years. They had the internet just after the First World War, but we didn't get it until was it early to mid 80s when it came out proper to the public. So imagine what they've got, what they're not showing.
Oh, it would probably blow our minds. And, I often refer, and a lot of us in this genre refer back to what Ben Rich was saying. He's got what did he say? We've got the technology to take ET home. We've got the technology to go beyond the stars. And we've had it for decades, he said. So, look, this again, we and it's a bit like Richard Dolan's work. He talks a lot about breakaway civilizations, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's them and us. There's a two-tier. Well, actually, you could probably say there's more than two tiers, but there definitely is. I would say a few tiers of breakaway civilizations now. Our reality is just that they're not interested in our reality. They're probably gone and off. And I don't know whether you want to call it off-world or out of this world. Using dimensional gateways or something like that. I don't know. Whatever the quantum computer helps them do. I don't know.
So are you more inclined to think that UFOs
are the main one?
Two tiers?
Say that again, Nicole.
Are you more inclined to think that the UFOs and UAPs are extraterrestrials from other planets, or that they're us from other dimensions or, you know, off planet?
Look, I genuinely think it could be all of the above. I mean, I know that, sorry, that sounds like a real get out of jail card, doesn't it? But I think it is actually that. Because I think you're going to have, if you've got a planet like ours, I think you're probably going to have various civilizations with varying levels of technology. And obviously they're coming from various...
Sorry, can you guys hear me?
No, you're right. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's right. My computer's just shut down. I'm going to have to reboot it. It's literally, I cannot do anything again.
All right. No worries.
All right. Give me 2 minutes and I'll be back on.
Cool. No worries, Matt. Do you want me to carry on?
Yeah.
Yep. So we were talking about, weren't we? We were talking about UFOs and origins, I guess, is probably the question, because that's another one doing the rounds, isn't it? It's future humans coming back. Yes. And the Greys were once us. I can't buy into that personally. There's too many problems with that coming back to fix genetic errors that they did, you know, millennia ago. Well, if they've got the kind of technology that they've supposedly have, then they would be fixing the time issue, not the genetic issue. You're not telling me that an advanced civilization like that couldn't just fix that, or couldn't go back in time and do it that way. To come and steal our genetics just seems like, really, and to have to keep on doing it. Do you know what I mean?
That's a little weird. That one. I mean, but there's hundreds of theories out there. But then you get into, if they are coming back to the past, wouldn't it mess up their timeline?
Absolutely. That's the other issue with it. Do you know what? I yesterday, because Philip Kinsella talks a lot about the Greys, so I did a little bit of reading up on his theories and stuff. And it's not just Philip, and he does say himself, they are just theories. None of us know. But my issue with some of that, and it's not just Philip, it's the theory in general that ETs are us in the future. Yeah, I don't buy it. To me, it doesn't make sense. And obviously, you probably need to be more of a scientist and more of a physicist to probably understand it better. But just like using pure logic, it doesn't seem to stand up for me.
No.
Based on the fact that you're dealing with what would be a super advanced race of beings with limitless technology. So why would they need to do that? And wouldn't they have projected way in advance and known that would happen? That's the other thing. If you've got AI and quantum faster than quantum computing, which they would have, they would already know what would happen in the future, so they wouldn't have done it. So that's the other issue with it. All of it. Sorry, yeah. Something like that anyway. I know what I mean.
Down them lines. But when you were saying before about these civilizations that have moved on to a different plane, the main one, I've been looking into it a bit, is Tartaria, where everyone just upped and left. They reckon that they went into some sort of, I think they said 5G dimension. They got to a point of 5D, sorry. They got to a point where they knew how to vibrate at a different level and was getting like free energy and all that. And all of them managed to do it. And like the whole civilization just moved from dimension A to dimension B, literally overnight.
When you say there, and
the whole civilization.
No, you know when they say they think, who are they? The internet.
the TikTokers.
Well,
that's it.
We TikTokers.
Yeah, but we don't know who they are, do we? So we just get given that.
No, I'm only messing with you. I love the Tartaria stuff. I think it's brilliant. I think
it is.
It's and you know what? A lot of it seems legitimate to me. I mean, why, again, talk about history, why go to such trouble to cover it up? You could argue they've not done it deliberately because the information's still there. What's more surprising is that it's never even been mentioned. I had never, in nearly 50 years, I have never heard that before in in school, college, and university. I have never heard it.
Exactly.
Why?
But also, with you saying that, this 700 years went missing because was it King James I or somebody? I can't remember which. It was someone anyway in power. They wasn't impressed with how the years and all that were going, so they scrapped it and went straight to like 1400. I can't remember the exact year, but there's about 700 years. There's 700 and something years that have just been wiped. So in that 700 and odd years, what happened?
Yeah, well, it's first. I've not really heard about that, but I know what you're saying. I think it just goes back to what we were talking about history. I mean,
Yeah.
For them to be for it to be sort of never talked about, never mentioned. On the odd occasion, you might hear the actual word in something, very, very rarely. But why? Because there seems to be a lot of history there. Why is no one want to talk about it?
Yeah, because I'm at school. It was a while ago, but I took history, and we learned about Second World War, dictators throughout history, and Vietnam. Don't know why we had to learn about Vietnam, but we did. And just little crappy stuff. Nothing. I'm not saying they weren't of any importance, but there's of no importance to the studying that I was doing. Does that make sense? We just learned about war. It was just war.
Mm-hmm. I found your thing. It was the Holy Roman Emperor Otto the Third, conspired with Pope Sylvester II to doctor the dating system. They placed their reigns at AD 1000 because it was a better number. They added 297 years of bogus history to facilitate the deception.
Wow.
Yep, everything that happened supposedly between 614 AD and 911 AD was a fabrication.
And that's just the one we've come across. I mean,
all this times has happened.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the big issues I have, and again, it's difficult for us three scientists sat here having this conversation, but the whole dinosaur thing, I just can't. There's something wrong with it. Those timescales just don't work for me. This 65 million years, 200 million years. No. I imagine just a million years, or even what a vast amount of time that is. And we're talking about creatures that lived here 200 million years ago. I mean, something's off with that time scale.
Yeah. But with that as well, this is the first thing that got me thinking about dinosaurs. Was dinosaurs didn't exist when early man existed. So who the hell painted these dinosaurs on the inside of cave walls and other normal walls? Who did it? I don't think the dinosaurs had opposable thumbs and to hold a paintbrush or a stick of charcoal. Do you know what I mean? So who did it? Someone's got to have done it.
Well, look at what Brian Forster's finding in the Americas with the elongated skulls. So they were humanoid. So were they a race of people that were around in those days? And even the elongated skull thing, they're trying the best to try and get rid of it, but they just can't get rid of it because their science doesn't stand. Look, I think this is probably, I think I've said this before, along with the UFO disclosure, I think that soon they're going to acknowledge this. There is no missing link. They're going to publicly acknowledge that we were created or genetically modified. In fact, they're going to be forced to, because our technology, even in the public domain, is getting so advanced now that it can read the human genome and it can date it, and it can put these studies out to the public. So they've been able, while they were the purveyors of it, they've been able to control it. But the cat's out of the bag now. Yeah. And I don't think is anyone really going to be that surprised? Really,
there'll be some.
I think we're not fazed by anything. They were like, aliens are real, and we're like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nobody got all excited about it.
Well, mission accomplished as far as they're concerned, because the soft disclosure over the last 50 years has worked. It worked perfectly.
Yeah.
So do you think Hollywood played a big part in disclosure? And I don't just mean in like a negative way, but the whole running of what's real and what's not real.
Yeah, absolutely. The alphabet agencies, no matter which one you're talking about, they were all working with, and still are working with, producers. It's known, and you often hear some of these very well known producers, Lucas, Spielberg, who's the guy that Gene Roddenberry, who did Star Trek. They were working with these alphabet agencies. They were in conversation with CIA. They were talking to them. To me, it kind of makes sense that, again, a lot of these think tanks that were around back and still around now, they were all. It's all controlled. This whole thing has been developed, controlled, directed right from, I would have said certainly from 30s, maybe early 20s.
Yeah.
By various guises. I mean, look, we can go down that rabbit hole if you want about who they are. Because you can't not go down the rabbit hole, because once you've finished talking about the surface level stuff, you have to talk about why these whistleblowers are not allowed to tell us. You have to talk about why they're not allowed to say it. And we all know why they're not allowed to say. All those of us in this genre know why. I think we all see that there is something much darker going on here. There's some sort of private war going on here behind the scenes.
Well, look at Phil Schneider. Was when there was tunneling and they come across these call them rooms, corridors with different races, and apparently that's how he ended up losing half his stomach and 3 of his fingers, because he was getting shot by lasers and shit. So
and look what happened to him in the end. You know,
how would you die with your own colostomy pipe
catheter
around your neck? Yeah. Apparently he got wrapped around his neck and he did it himself.
Yeah, I think just to go on.
Yeah, whilst in his wheelchair. So those that know, it's not true. It was them.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, that these guys stepping forward, they're either very brave or very stupid.
Yeah. Or they're being told, right, you need to go out. You've got to say this. Don't say anything else. You're next on the list.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not an experiencer. I don't know whether you two are experiencers directly. Are you two?
Yeah, I've had a lot of.
Well, I've not. So, but obviously, I've spent a long time speaking to people like that. So, how it must feel that if you are an experiencer and you've seen it firsthand, and you're not considered worthy to be a witness, or you're not worthy of credit, how that must feel. I mean, I think they must feel really insulted, and we're talking about probably millions of people across the world actually now.
Yeah, but if you can't be controlled, or what you experience doesn't go with the narrative that they want to portray, because they don't want to instill panic, they don't want to admit that people are being taken and experimented on, or whatever may have happened to these people. They want to say, oh no, there's nothing wrong. You know, they fly in the air, they give us these crafts, and that's it.
Yeah. What do you guys think the actual narrative is going to be in the next? What do you think? Do you think they're going to say anything at all? Do you think they're going to give us an angle or not?
I think they're just going to do. I started calling it a 2-week rollover, because that's what it is. You had to go again. The Tic Tacs, 2 weeks. Then weather balloons, 2 weeks. Drones, 2 weeks. I've missed something else out, but there's something else. It was 2 weeks. Everything's 2 weeks.
Oh, the squids.
The what?
The little squid guy.
Yeah, the jellyfish thing.
Oh, yeah. And then Mildenhall, Lakenheath, Manchester Airport with the drones. And I said, I drive past Lakenheath and Mildenhall. They're only like 2-3 miles away from each other. You literally drive past one, you get to the end of the airbase, and you're at the next one. You could be it's literally the same base, just split into two. And I've been past when jets are taking off, the landing, a lot of military vehicles, and them 2 weeks when all this drone activity was kicking off, there was no extra activity there. I was driving past at 8 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, various times of the day, going past both, as actually delivering to the villages in and around that area. There's no extra security. I seen one military police car on Mildenhall in that whole, and I probably drove past it about 6 times in 2 weeks. So if there's all this drone stuff going on, why is there not more security being stepped up?
Well, Paul said that the base, the what's that base near Paul's called? You were on with her the other night. Oh,
Simon will know. Like, Fire Spirit, he'll know. He's always up there.
I can't remember.
Someone in chat will tell us.
But he was saying, look, that these drones were the talk of the base amongst the guys, you know, working on the bases. Well, of course it would be, because they're not privy to the agenda, just like we aren't privy to the agenda. It doesn't work if everybody knows what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, even, I mean, you could argue that they're especially the guys that you don't want to know.
No,
because that just strengthens the lie. You know, it's
that's it. It's like you say in Independence Day, it's official denial. If you don't know, you can't comment. You can only speculate, the same as anybody else.
Yeah.
Flyingdales.
Filingdales.
Oh, Flyingdales.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't read.
Someone said that. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, Simon.
Yeah, and look, I think I don't want to come over as like being quite disparaging to all these guys coming forward, because maybe they are genuine. That's not what I'm saying, and it's not what people like me are saying. That's not our intention at all. We're just very speculative, and they probably appreciate that, because they know that a lot of us, you know, some people have been waiting for disclosure for probably 75. Imagine all these guys like that were around in the time of Corso and what's the other guy called? Bob Lazar time, just before, you know, some 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. For those that are still around, they've been waiting for this. Still no nearer.
I know.
What do you think about the theory that they're kind of gearing up for some kind of false flag operation?
I think the cat's out of the bag with it a little bit, because you know, we can't wait to tell everybody, can we?
Well, if there's some kind of attack or some kind of, you know, we need to unite against a common enemy.
Look, Reagan said it, didn't he? It's a very effective. It would be a very effective method. They've been talking about Project Bluebeam for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They've certainly got the tech to do it. And in fact, I think that some of that tech were being used during these drone sightings. I think some of it was projections. I don't know. I think it probably would work, you know, en masse. If they did it en masse, it would probably, I mean, look, no offense, but just look what happened a few years ago with these toilet rolls. You know?
Toilet rolls and pasta.
Yeah. Well, just look at how easy, you know, some of the public are to put into a panic. So what they would do if they saw that.
So that's it. You can't control the masses if you put them into a panic. So if you do a little bit at a time, they can get a reaction, like all this stuff that's been going on from TikTok onward. They're seeing what reaction the public are giving to what they're doing. So it's a little bit, it's like, right, well, this happened when we did this happened when we did this, the pandemic, this happened and everyone just fell apart. So if you do something as big as that, we're not going to be able. So obviously with the lockdown and that, they had a lot more control, I think, than they thought they was going to get, but they didn't really get the backing from it, because all different countries were doing their own thing. Some was lasting longer, some didn't care. Certain countries didn't even get the pandemic, which is very weird.
Didn't New Zealand not get it?
North Korea didn't get it either, and that's right next to China. So yeah, you work that one out.
Blew over, just blew over.
he wouldn't let it in. That's what it was.
No, he said no.
Yeah,
but
absolutely not.
Yeah, So
Maybe they
saying
were
again,
wearing masks. Maybe they were wearing masks.
yes, that's what it was. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it was. Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's a lot of stuff is not adding up. More than anything is not adding up. So if they know how to control the masses to a degree, something like this, because it's not, as Dawn says, the invisible enemy, these actual visual beings, if they're going to come and interact with us, then they won't have any control as to what's going on. And yet again, it contradicts itself.
Yeah, yeah. And I yesterday we were, well, for a long time we've been talking. There's so many different levels of this, isn't there? I think we often, when, especially in these podcasts, because we know we're limited on time, and we know there's almost so much to know that you can't. You know, now and then you'll come across an expert, and they will have brilliant. They will retain information like I don't know how they do it, and they can just reel off fact after fact. But there's actually so many now to sort of. This picture is so broad that you would need to know. You need to know so much about all of this stuff, like not the history of ufology as an example. You need to know about breakaway civilizations. You need to know about ancient history. You need to know about the Vatican. You need to know about Tartaria. You need to all these things, because I think they're all relevant to the overall discussion that we're having. Because there isn't a one answer. So there isn't a one answer to this disclosure. It comes in various forms, and it's a very, very complex subject. So, which they would argue is the reason that they're not doing it, because if they did, it would open a few cans. Of course, it would.
Yeah, that's the fun part, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, it is. Well, like Nicole was saying, that if they did do Project Bluebeam or something like it, they would. It would the panic. A little bit of chaos plays right into their hands because they love that.
Yeah.
So a month or 6 weeks of chaos, they would love that, because they then come in, they clean it all up, they sort it all out. We all give our whatever rights we've got left away, and that's the end.
Yeah.
And it's mission accomplished as far as they're concerned. And we don't ask any more questions for probably another 50 years.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And it would work, I think.
It would.
Yeah.
We would just be
way.
underground. Yeah, we would just be still on here moaning about it.
Look, as long as I get furloughed this time, because I didn't last time, I was not impressed.
Right.
So as long as I get furloughed with full
Can you
pay,
imagine telling your grandkids I got furloughed during the alien invasion?
Yeah.
I had to work the whole damn pandemic. I don't want to work the alien invasion too.
Yeah.
Look, give me one. I'm not doing. It's like when you got to work a bank holiday and then they give you another bank holiday straight after. It's like, no, forget it.
Bluebeam bank holiday, it would be called.
Yeah. Right.
No, people still need their beds during an alien invasion. We're going to have to work.
They'll come down and cure them. They'll come down and cure them with supernatural powers. We'll be fine. Right. So we're going to go on a break. Do you want to do 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'll go and get a coffee in 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll boot us off screen, sit the thing up and play the music. So get your questions ready for part 2, where we're going to be going more to Bigfoot. Is that correct, Chris?
Wherever you want.
I'm just thinking them images that you sent me earlier.
Yeah, look, we can talk about the whole cryptid thing. I mean, it's a very deep hole, but we can go down it. Yeah.
That's fine. The deeper the better.
Sure.
Right. I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Yes. See you in 5.
Okay.
And we are back. Just let me
Oh,
unmute everyone.
No warning on
Oh.
that.
No, I'm doing it different. I'm doing it completely, doing it totally different now. So, yeah, I don't have to make videos. I can just make an image and then play the music from the Stream Deck. So, I've learned how to do it. Another tick of the tech side. So, right. So, do you want to? Should we go to? Should we start with that first image that you sent me? The first email, Chris.
Sure. Yeah.
So I've not shown Nicole any of these because I like to get an initial reaction on them. So I'll put this up and I'll let you explain what it is, Chris, or where it's come from.
I won't explain it. See if Nicole can see it. How about that?
Oh
All
boy.
right,
I don't
let's
like
go
these
with that.
games.
Let's go.
All right, let's see. What am I looking at?
Top right corner.
It looks like a fish.
Yeah, it's creepy, isn't it?
True.
So
But
I'll give you the backstory. So this image was sent to me by when I was making the reptilian film, 2017, 2016, maybe. This girl, this is probably about maybe a top third of an image. This is from a video. This is not a photograph. This is a screen grab.
Yeah.
And she was on a voice FaceTime back in 2016 with an American girl with her husband who was on the oil rigs. So she'd recorded this message for him, and obviously to get it there, she would email it or forward it. It wasn't live back then. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it live. And for years and years, she'd been telling him that she'd been being visited by these alien things, these greys, all sorts of reptilian things. The military were taking them out of bed. They were taking the kids, and he weren't having any of it because he was always away working on the rigs, and he just didn't believe a word of it. Now, her sister, this had run through the family. They were of royal lineage. Their bloodline was, I think it was French. So her and her sister had also experienced this as kids, and it had gone through the family. So now it was their kids were experiencing it, and the husband didn't want to believe it. He just flat out denied it. Anyway, he received the video, saw what was happening in the video, saw this thing in the top right-hand corner, absolutely lost it. Straight off his job, straight down to the sat phone, rings her. Is everything all right? Yeah, everything's fine. What's the problem? Well, I've just got your video. Right? What's the problem? Well, look what's in the video. So he came back. So she, in some respects, she was really glad that he'd finally seen what she was talking about. Anyway, by the time he'd got home, he'd been home probably a few days. He'd just gone into flat out denial. He'd done a full 180. Yeah. He'd gone from not wanting to know to totally believing it and panicking that this was happening to his wife and kids to then flat out refusing to accept it. So that was just, that case was really interesting because she was a MyLab. So that was like she was having MyLab experiences, which is more common than you might think in alien abduction. I don't know whether you've had any MyLabs on the show, have you?
I don't think so. Yes, we have.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's quite a lot of people don't even realize that they're a MyLab. You know, some abductees, contactees. Look, people are touchy about how you address them, aren't they? Experiences, contactees, abductees, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that the whole MyLab thing is really interesting. So a lot of people don't even realize that they are having encounters with military. Now, Stephen Greer would argue that all ET abduction is MyLab. He would argue that, or all the bad ones, should I say? All the good ones are all genuine, but the bad ones, well, that's the CIA and these secretive, black clandestine groups that are responsible for that. Yeah. That absolute nonsense. That is absolute garbage. Like I said before, I agree with quite a lot of the stuff that Stephen Gray says in regards to technology and disclosure and what would happen, and the fact that they're keeping technology from us and we could change the whole world, eradicate hunger, all that. I'm on board, Stephen. You got me. You know, where I sign.
Yeah.
But then to sort of play that card, that all the negative encounters with ETs are CIA or these black clandestine operations, no, you lose me there. But
do you have the clip that picture came from?
No, but there's a reason I don't have that clip, because the video was a friendly video. Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I get not seeing each other for a while.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to say from that picture because it is just one frame.
Yeah.
You know what it could be, because you know when you slow something down, and Andy, you know, go like frame by frame, things get a little distorted.
Yeah, but I mean, this is after we've been in contact for like, I don't know, maybe a month at least, just back and forth emails, long, massive, huge emails with loads of detail about her sister, the family, the bloodline, all, you know, diaries of encounters, things that have been happening to her.
Yeah, not that I doubt what's happened, but even from that picture, like, you know, you can see whatever's on the left here looks a little like blurry and pixelated.
Yeah, well, that's the top of her head. That's her head, her tied back. That's
forehead and hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's forehead and hair, and this thing's here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, look, it's
sorry, go on.
It's subjective, isn't it? We don't know what that is. It's very, I think it's slightly better than a blob squatch, but it's enough to make me think, oh, something a bit weird. It's a bit weird. It's a bit odd.
It looks
but
like
it's not the smoking gun.
No, but it looks like, obviously, it looks like a big type of fish head that's transforming. But under where would be the neck, it looks all smoky, like it's.
Yeah, I think
manifested.
Yeah, well, it's the same old story. I don't know what resolution a front-facing camera would have been in 2016. Probably not great. I wouldn't have thought. Maybe 720, 480, something like that. And then you're dealing with 1/6 of that. Yeah. So we're certainly in blob squatch territory. Definitely, you know.
Yeah.
But interesting, nevertheless.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something to look at.
It's creepy looking. I don't like it. It looks like fish.
Yeah, well, she said it looked more demonic than what we would class ET. So, and it's creepy. But that's the word I would use. Yeah, creepy.
Very.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you wouldn't want it. You wouldn't want him at the bottom of your bed, would you?
No.
No. If I saw that in one of my pictures,
at the end.
But.
Yeah. No, that's definitely not for me. But it's like I'll just put it up quickly again. It's like got like flesh coloured skin, like pig skin. Is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Do you like when there's a couple of layers? There's not enough layers of skin. Like we have, what is it, 7 layers of skin? I think that looks like it's only got like 1 or 2. It's very red.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks like a big. I don't know. It's just ugly, creepy.
Yeah. No, I'm good for that one. But thanks anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to see that like appear in my bedroom or anything.
No, I think even Biden would be not keen on sniffing around that. I wouldn't have thought.
Oh, don't know. He might be the only one that would try and talk to it.
Could be a relative, to be honest.
Well, yeah, it's got the black eyes like him anyway.
God.
But that's another rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We should do that rabbit hole one day. The many face of Joe Biden.
Oh, the latex masks and all that. Yeah, I'm sticking with that one. But
the sleeve thing, that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, there's loads. There's so many. Yeah. I think I'll just do it quickly. The best one is that Biden apparently has got a twin brother. He died years ago. and it's either his twin brother that's playing him, or it's Jim Carrey with the latex mask
Yeah,
on.
I've read that. Yeah, I read
There's
that.
There's loads.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I don't think it would be Jim Carrey because of how he's been in the last few years, the interviews that he's done about basically saying the Truman Show is real.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it did seem to have a spiritual awakening, but there are many people that think he's trying to roll back karma a little bit. But
yes, he's kind of like dipped back into the shadows, hasn't
he? Yeah,
a little bit.
So, anyway, that's that of him. Right.
Mhm.
So, the next one. Which one do you want me to show first? The 5 or the one on its own?
Whatever you want. Either or.
Right. So I'll do the first one.
They're both they're all relative. I mean, you know, quite rare, really, when you think about the whole British Bigfoot thing in general, which obviously I completely understand why anyone outside of Britain would be scoffing at the notion that there's a Bigfoot living in Britain. You know, certainly from a physical flesh and blood standpoint, you know, relic hominid roaming around that we've not discovered. I completely get it. So if anyone out there listening to this, I get it.
Yeah.
But this photograph comes from Wales. And this is what's the place called? Oh, I always forget the name of the place in Wales. Caerphilly, the Caerphilly Mountains.
Right.
And this is from a researcher who was back in the day have you heard of Thinker Thunker?
Oh, it rings a bell.
Yeah, well, Thinker Thunker debunks a lot of cryptid videos. He's got a massive channel, a lot of subscribers. He analyzes video of Bigfoot, basically, and anything obscure, really, and unexplained.
Yeah.
Yep, you know the guy. Well, the guy who took this photograph was called Bigfoot Tony. He's a Welsh guy who was in the film Elusive, and he did the same thing. He was very skeptical about his own encounters and his own research, and he started doing the same thing, breaking down videos and debunking things, not in a nasty way, in a very respectful way, you know. So I went up to meet him in the Caerphilly Mountains and to talk about his research and his encounters, and this was just one of the footprints that he found, which I thought was really interesting. But again, until it's the age-old analogy. Until you've seen what's left the print, you've got nothing. I appreciate that, but I just think it's interesting in the context of everything else that he was talking about.
But if you look at the shape of it,
say that again, Andy.
If you look at the shape of it, how narrow the heel of the foot is.
Yes, that's what I thought. Yeah,
how wide it goes, and even it's more of a big toe than a big foot. The big toe, where the print, it just looks massive compared to the rest of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's not the typical arch, nor is there the mid-tarsal break which we would be looking for. But I think we've said it before that I think if there was something over here, it's clearly smaller. It just makes sense because we're a smaller country. We're smaller. Everything we've got here is smaller than Russia, China, and America and Canada. Yeah. So it would make sense that our version would be smaller, much like you find in some of these other places as well, some places in Scandinavia. So that kind of stands up for me. Look, it's interesting. And look, to be honest, when I got into the whole cryptid world, I'd come from ufology and really dark, satanic reptilian research. I'd been down that rabbit hole. So this was like a breath of fresh air for me. I was just coming up for air, coming out of that dark area, which can get really dark. So the cryptid, this was great. You know, I'd gone from reading horrible things and dark things to actually getting some fresh air and going out and walking the forests and the mountains. It's brilliant, you know. So yeah, completely different kettle of fish. But to come straight out of ufology into the world of cryptids and then into the world of Bigfoot in your back garden, it's like what? You know, a bit overwhelming, really.
You don't have a Bigfoot. You have like a medium foot.
Yeah. Well,
medium foot, big toe.
Maybe we should trademark that.
Yeah.
Medium foot.
Yeah.
Call it, or small foot, medium foot.
Yeah.
Littlefoot.
Well, Littlefoot is a dinosaur from the Land Before Time, so he can't be Littlefoot.
Yeah, I thought I recognised that term. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll call it
Oh, no.
Stumpy Foot.
No, there's an animated movie called Smallfoot.
Ah, yeah, there is. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's a Yeti or something.
Yeah, I watched it at the cinema. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Right.
Smallfoot, smallish foot, medium to large foot. There we go. No one's keyed that yet, have they?
There you go.
Get your trademark in.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be big.
Yeah.
It's gonna be medium.
You never know. You never know. Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. It's, because, no offense to people in America, but a lot of Bigfoot researchers in America will say there are no Bigfoot type creatures in the UK because it's too small. It's on an island. They can't get there. They can't get back unless you travel via UFOs, submarines. I don't know. But
Portal.
yeah, but why? I get why the big, no pun intended, the big in America and Canada, it's all connected. It's thousands and or millions of square miles of untouched land. Same as like the Yeti up in the Himalayas. It's just, land goes on forever. So I get all that. But why can we not have Bigfoot in the UK? Especially Scotland and Wales, where, yeah, the mountains aren't as big as they are in the rest of the world, but there are mountain ranges. There are big hills. I won't like to climb half of them. Even though I've been up Ben Nevis and Snowdonia and that. So I have done it, but it is a big, vast area of nothingness. So why can they not exist?
I think what the researchers, the international researchers that are saying that are probably from the flesh and blood camp. So I get why they would be saying that. You know, if you're from the flesh and blood camp, I completely get it. You'll not find any arguments from me there. As I said, there's a small part of me that wonders because I think nobody knows everything, and I think you can't 100% rule everything out. The Scotland thing and the other thing, other than the Scotland thing, the other thing that I often think about is the underground thing. Those are the two things that kept me slightly interested in the physical theory of this, because there's so much about the Hollow Earth. That's a show in itself that you guys need to do.
Love it. I do it on every opportunity.
I love it. I absolutely love that subject. Yeah.
Because
every episode, Hollow Earth.
It's like, obviously, Chris, I don't know, people. I mean, all right to say where you're from, not the exact location, but the part of England you live in.
Sure, yeah. Well, yeah. Anyone from Britain will tell with my accent where we're from. Yeah.
So he's from a place called Bolton. And Bolton, there's a lot of tunnels under Bolton that go from the town hall that was used during the Civil War, and Dick Turpin used them as well, which goes from Bolton Town Centre to a place called Moses Gate Country Park. I am going to say the place next to it is an actual place called Knob End. It's real. There's a sign. I've been. It's where I fell off a bridge. And these tunnels that go under there as well. And they go for miles and miles. I think, don't some of them tunnels go into like natural tunnels that then link and go across to Europe? I know it goes all the way over to where Phillips Park Hall is, the man-made ones.
I think the tunnels,
giant sea around there.
Yeah, I think it's just like America. I think these tunnels, and they were there before the military did it. The tunnels are ancient, and the tunnels are actually quite, from what I understand, the ones in Blackpool I were told about by a guy that I know.
Yeah.
He was told that the tunnels that he found in Blackpool, the workers there came across the tunnels and were told to never talk about it. And these were like they were like, I wouldn't say they were advanced, but they were very solid. They weren't cobbles. This wasn't done by a few guys with some stone tools. These were of a technology, so let's say. So I think they've been there a long time. And I think, look, just I've said this before, from a tactical standpoint during the war, of course you would want tunnels underground going everywhere. Of course you would.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have been different in any wartime, no matter where you. Let's say we're already speculating. Some historians are speculating that there was some sort of nuclear war going on in parts of the world anyway. They can't explain what caused it. So let's say there was an ancient war. Of course, we went underground. They could be the guys, part of the theory is with Hollow Earth, they could be the guys flying the craft over Washington that time. Could it be, the German guy and his mates, who knows?
Oh, well, and that's another thing. That's another rabbit hole. I'm going to go there with this. Like with the war.
Okay,
right?
Let's go.
So, World War II, the Allies won. I still do not believe that happened. They made it look like the Allies won, but the real winners are the ones that are controlling that. This is the they. This is who part of they are. They're the ones that are controlling everything and have got the last say on who can say what when there's a press conference, what is allowed to be seen and not seen, and the puppet masters. It's like a lot of the non-allies was it Argentina? You got ships and Argentina and Antarctica, right? Which aren't a million miles away from each other. So what's not to say that they are the real leaders? Don't forget, there's one particular guy with a dodgy tash who was trying to create the perfect race, the Aryans.
Charlie Chaplin.
Well, yeah. Blonde hair, blue eyes, natural muscles, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So did the Allies really win the war? I don't think so.
If they did, they made deals because some of those scientists were very, very smart, and it's historically documented that they got pardons and brought over to work.
Yes. Yeah, because it was like, right, we can kill you, or you can come and work for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in Life of Brian when he goes cake or crucifixion, was it? He goes, I'll have some cake. Yeah. And they're like, he goes, oh, we've run out of cake. Oh, so it's our crucifixion. But it's that sort of thing, though. Do you want something really good and stay alive, or should we kill you? But that's what it is. And that's a rabbit hole one of the rabbit holes I'm down at the minute, is that we didn't win. It was all, again, lied to about what really happened.
Did you see how quick we got from a muddy footprint? Did you see that?
You said inner earth, and that was it. And there's a billion rabbit holes. And I've got...
Set them off, Chris.
I've got a big toe in every single one of them.
Yeah,
fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Look, and it just goes to show you that, again, what we were saying before, it's just one domino. That's just one domino of a long line of dominoes that, in all this subject. That I'll tell you what, they've really got their hands full. If you think about it, they've done a very, very good job in hiding and masking this stuff and burying it. Imagine the effort that's going into to maintaining that, the work that must go into that.
But look, going back to World War II, look at what they did and how many people were eradicated from apparently one person's knowledge and perspective of how the world should be. Look at I'm not going to go too deep into it. Obviously, I'm going to avoid certain words and what have you. But look how organized it was. It was like,
look who funded it.
Bush, by any chance?
Yeah. Well, look where the money came from.
Yeah.
Look who was arrested for loaning money to him. Look who leased the machines that counted the numbers, that counted the personnel. What American company leased those machines out. So yeah. Look, this is a deep hole. It's a deep hole.
Well, it's like Warren's just put in. I'll just put it up quickly. Leading German scientists led the post-war American drive to the moon, left NASA, and then worked in the leading aerospace companies. The origins of the industrial military complex. But it's like Nicole said, and I said, I'm going to contradict myself yet again. It's like, come and work for us, or be done for criminal war crimes, or was it that these scientists told the Allies that, well, this is what we're going to do, and you're going to accept it, so we're going to come and work for you, and we are actually ruling the world, and you've just got to deal with it because that's how it goes.
Yeah, you can pretty much bet we're only getting a fraction of the story, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
because
happens.
we're not.
The winners write history, so you write it however you want to.
Yes, but like Chris said before, to keep them low key, so we don't see the real agenda of what's going on, make it look like you won. Blah blah blah. We can stay behind the scenes. We'll still control everything. When we need to, we'll get our puppets to come out and start causing havoc.
Yeah, because there's been an agenda, as we said earlier, about this breakaway thing. It's very real. That was the agenda. You know, this continuous rollover war that, like you said earlier, that's been just going on. It just seems never ending.
Yeah,
it's just fundraising and distraction. That the whole breakaway thing is just going on in the background, out of earshot of the public completely. You never know. In our lifetime, we may get on that shuttle to what do they call it? To near Earth orbit, do they call it, or lower Earth orbit? We might be able to afford an economy ticket. You know, at a look, so we can have a look at it.
I'm just going to get on me. No, I'm just going to get on my kayak, find the entrance into an Earth somewhere near Antarctica, go and meet Admiral Byrd, and
bring a jacket. Bring a jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Crocs. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But it's like we have no idea what's really going on. Like, we're speculating all this now, and these theories and thoughts that we've got that we've been thinking about, like you said, Chris, for 20, 30 years, could be completely wrong. And something could happen overnight, and it just blows everything out the water, and they come at us with something completely different. It's like when you're watching a movie and you think you know exactly what's going to happen at the end, and there's a massive twist, and you're like, well, I didn't see that coming.
No, but realistically, you know, these aren't our inventions. These aren't modern day stories. These stories come from ancient myths, passed down from culture to culture over millennia. So it's not like you've just got us lot with our tinfoil hats on, just sat here, and look, I love it, just speculating about this stuff. You know, it's amazing. And when I've got friends, you two have probably got friends that do not touch this subject. They're not interested in this subject, but I love this subject. If I get half a chance at the party to talk about it, I'm there. You know, my wife used to warn me. I don't know whether she's listening to this downstairs, but in the early days, she used to warn me, don't start any conversations about that stuff, because there are certain areas about this research that can turn into, you know, people will vehemently defend, won't they? They will, if you're not from the genre, you will vehemently defend your position about, you know, if you don't know any of this information. This cognitive dissonance is strong out there. So people get really upset about subjects we just consider fun. Some of these, they get really upset about it.
Well, because it makes them feel stupid, because they believe something for so long and they're so stuck in it because people don't want to admit that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Or that they might be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
My favorite bit is when someone will come in the room and they'll start talking. Oh, have you seen what's on the news? Have you heard about? And you're like, yes, I've known about this for 20 years. Where are we going with this? Because I cannot hold back, as you probably guessed.
No, I know what you mean. You're straight into inner earth.
Yeah, but it is so, and it's like it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
It is. But I think, do you know what? It was one of the things early doors when I started doing the reptilian thing, because as you can imagine, I came from like regular ufology and got into that stuff, and all that dark information. That is something to swallow, that pill. You know, once you've had a look inside that box, you then realize that anything is possible, really. The whole reptilian thing is just it's another one of these. It's like Hollow Earth. It's one of them subjects now that seems to people. If you look in the internet now, people never. It was a very taboo subject. People love that subject now. The videos about reptilian stuff, Lacerta stuff, anything like that, get massive views. People are fascinated by it.
So whereas I went to the zoo on Saturday with my kids, right? And my 10-year-old daughter kept asking to go to the reptilian house, not the reptile house, the reptilian house.
Ah, really?
So that I had to explain the difference. So now she knows all about reptilians.
No, but it's exciting and frustrating. It's all the different emotions in one.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
You can't overthink it, because if you do, the likelihood is that I think part of the fun, which none of us want to admit, is the not knowing.
Yes, see, Nicole.
No, I want to know.
Thank you, Chris. Right. So I'm going to ask you the question. So we have this question for pretty much every guest.
Okay.
So this is like a one-off offer. You can be told everything about the paranormal. What if things are connected, not connected? You will know everything there is to do with paranormal, whether it's ETs, UFOs, spirits, dogmen, elementals, shadow people, you name it. You get told absolutely everything. Forget, it's a hypothetical, so don't forget about too much knowledge, it'll blow your mind, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. You get to know what the paranormal is, what it's about, what the agenda is, the narrative, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Would you want to know? Because don't forget, once you find everything out, there's no more searching, there's no more mystery.
I want to know.
Really?
Well, I want to know. Yeah, I want to know, because now I'm going on a worldwide tour telling everybody. That's what's happening. #1 selling book, podcast, movies. Yeah, I want to know.
Are you not?
We all want to know. Why don't you?
But are you not?
What are you doing here?
I know.
But with you saying that it's a mystery of it, it's a mystery of not knowing.
Yeah, but I'm only saying that I'm trying to convince myself.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't want to know. I
might
want to know a little bit.
Yeah, because our goal here is we're searching for, and you know, I think even if we discovered a little bit of something, even, do you know what? I said this before about just purely about the cryptid thing. Because people always ask me when I'm doing the films and interviewing witnesses, they're saying, do you believe her? Do you believe them?
Yeah.
That's the big question. When I've done podcasts in the past, people said, well, do you believe the witnesses?
Yeah.
Well, you believe them as far as you can. And all I want in this subject is I want to know for me. I just want to, and even if I get a glimpse of something, and I mean something proper, so, you know, I'm not saying I want a Dogman on my doorstep, but I'd like to see one at a distance. At a distance. But no, you know what I mean, don't you? I don't. I like you said. Look, I don't need all the answers, but if you're offering it, I'll take it. You know.
See what you say about believing the people you're interviewing, I don't think it matters. Like, I don't have to believe the people that we have on guest. They believe it, and that's enough. That's their experience. That's something. And your experiences are always subjective.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you could argue that we can't fully believe them because we didn't, and a lot of them will tell you that anyway. I think, I mean, there must be. I don't think there's anything worse than not being justified in what you believe or what you've seen. It's a horrible situation to be in, and you've probably spoken to witnesses that have been in tears. I know I have many times seen witnesses just fall to pieces, reliving their experiences, and it's upsetting. So and look, I think we're way beyond that point of wondering whether this is actually happening, because it is. So
but they experience that. So whether or not you think that they physically got beamed up to a spaceship and did that, they believe they did. So why do they believe they did? What happened that made them think that? Yeah.
And look, a good, I suppose, a good researcher knows the correct stance, and that's the right. You're right, Nicole. That's the right position to be in. I think a lot for a time in this genre, there was a lot of disrespect coming from a lot of skeptics, and I don't know whether you've noticed this, but they're very quiet at the moment. Have you noticed that? The skeptics are very, very quiet. And they used to, honestly, in the forums and in the groups that I'm in on social media and various platforms, they're always there. You see them, they're popping up, they're always there. I don't see them anywhere now. They're out of business.
I see the odd laughing emoji. You don't get many comments from any of them anymore.
Yeah, do you know, I can't help but wonder whether 2020 had something to do with that as well.
Could be.
I think what happened there, I think the same people that were skeptical about UFOs and all the rest of it, and were skeptical about that, after the last 4 or 5 years, they've sort of, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't jump on things as heavily.
We have a couple of questions, if we can get to them before. I know we're running low on time again. As usual, it always goes so quick.
Just before you do the questions, I just want to show the other image. Because we bypassed it with Inner Earth. So these are the other prints. I just put them on quick.
Well, these were found in Inner Earth.
Really?
No. So
no, I don't mean really. I meant, was he underground or was he on the surface?
Yeah, no. So
I'm not that daft.
These prints are just a selection of footprints that were over the 3 years when I was making the film. I think two years, when I was making the film, from various witnesses and researchers all across Britain, that were just some possible footprints. If you notice the word possible there.
Yeah.
So interesting, very, inconclusive at best, but again, look, just interesting, I suppose, because the way the go on.
No, that's right. I was just going to say the Rob and Chris one, so the second and third one, they've got the narrow heel, same as that first one that we shown, whereas the first, fourth, and fifth one, they've got the bridge on the foot, and then it opens up again.
Yeah, well, I think the one that I got, the one in the middle there, I think you can see what looks to me like a human arch there, just on the inside there. That's what I took. That's what I took from it. I don't know what that is. I one time I thought it was a pair of those. Do you know the vibrant, what they called, the trainers where you put individual toes?
Oh, running shoes.
Yeah, they're like yeah. In the shape, they're like for natural. What's it called? Like a natural. Shoe,
natural feel. Yeah,
natural feel. Yeah, in the shape of a foot, and each individual toe has its own section. So I thought it was a pair of those originally, but when you look at them, those shoes, the toes don't slant down the way those in that. So I then went automatically to maybe some guy just took his shoes off and marched up the hill.
Could have been, but
Yeah.
that one looks like it's got 6 toes, and the big toe doesn't look much bigger than the second toe.
Yeah, to me, it just looked too much like a human foot, and it was found in a place where a lot of hikers go. That's not to rule it out, I suppose you could argue that it's become a footpath or a highway in the countryside because of its location, I suppose. So maybe it's always been a walkway over history, but to me it just seemed like a guy genuinely just took his shoes off and just walked up the hill, because I can't see what left the print, and they look too human to me. Sorry. I got to the point where that were at the back end of the 2 years, and I got to a point where I'd had 1 or 2 witnesses that I'd found out were fake or that were hoaxing. So I'd got a little bit disillusioned by it. And I think with cryptid research, when you come into it, if you're brand new to it, you can get overwhelmed really quickly with the tree structures, the sticks, the footprints, all that stuff, the shapes, the stones and the stacks. It's all overwhelming and really exciting. And, you're suddenly in your local park and everything's Bigfoot. It's just, So, watching myself back now in some of those early videos, I just think, what on earth are you talking about, you moron? But that's
how you learn, though.
It's a learning curve.
It is. You're right. And we should be. And I've said it before. There's a video on my channel called Sticks and Stones where I was talking about that. It is a learning curve, and we should be afforded that as well. You should be afforded that right. That if you're just coming into the research, it is the way that you learn. You've got to be wrong to be right. To learn how to be right, haven't you? So, and you become, like Andy said, you become much more skeptical then about everything. So it was a good thing being involved in the cryptid stuff, because that experience makes you rethink everything. Then you start looking at evidence in a completely new light, and you're very, very discerning about what you put out there as evidence.
Yeah. Thank you. Right. Questions, Nicole? I'll let you do them.
Okie dokie. All right. So first one's from Blue Ship. Question for Chris. What got you into the paranormal subject?
Oh, paranormal. It was just I worked with a guy years ago, a guy called Lee. We used to work long shifts in a factory overnight, 12-hour night shifts. So obviously it's the natural space for talking about everything, anything and nothing. And this weird stuff started coming up, and he knew a lot about the subject, and I knew very little about the subject, but I knew a little bit about cameras. So we started doing like short films and really terrible documentaries on well, we're still not that good now, but when you're trying to get into this genre working with no money whatsoever, I think people actually in this genre now appreciate that. I think, and I'd much rather, when I see some of these big documentaries made by, and I know what the budgets are, made by the likes of Stephen Greer and these guys, they're not saying anything that we can't do. They're not doing anything that we can't do these days. It's much more accessible filmmaking to all of us now. So, back, 10 years ago, that was a different story. 12 years ago, even. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, next one's a quick one from nickname. Will Chris be at the Cryptid conference?
That's what I was telling you about down in Bridgewater. Daniel.
Oh, the one that the young lad's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe. When is it?
That is the last weekend in May. So
I probably will. Yeah, I probably will. Yeah, to be honest,
I'm going. You probably won't now. It's like fucking hell.
I'm not going.
It's you're too far away. So I'm going on the Friday. I'm going Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you get the VIP ticket, you get like a meet and greet on the Friday night with a lot of the Bigfoot guys from the US. And then Saturday all day, Sunday most of the day. So, and they're quite cheap. I think it was, with booking fee, it was like 27 quid.
What, for all 3 days?
Yeah. So I booked the Friday off work. I booked my hotel and everything. I'm only like 2 miles from the place where it's at Victoria Park. down in near Bridgewater, around that way.
Yeah, I'll
So,
probably. Yeah, I
Somerset.
might go. I might go.
Yeah, there's a few going. So yeah, it should be good. It will be good. Because I was thinking of sleeping in the car and then going out in the woods at night and doing investigations and stuff. And then I thought, getting a bit old now. One night in the car, possibly, but not 2 nights, not 3 nights.
You say that until we're at the bar, and then that goes out the window, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, yeah, yes. Because like last time when we was at the Awakening, I think didn't we get kicked out the bar at something like 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, we stayed late, drinking late. Yeah.
And that was in the hotel. They had to kick us out to get ready for breakfast. That's
yeah,
what
but
they
in
told
my
me.
defence, I didn't arrive till 1 a.m. You'd been there all night, so
Yeah, there's me, Alison,
Nathaniel,
Barry, Nathaniel, Simon, Paul, Carmela, some others. Sorry if I forgot who it was. And yeah, that was a good weekend. That
I think that's why people
Did
like
enjoy
these
it.
conferences, because people just like being around the mates and like-minded people. And in Britain,
Yeah.
there's just too few of these conferences now, especially with the Awakening not being on anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have toyed with the idea of doing one myself. So I'll watch this space. So
yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're
That's why
doing one. Yeah, we're doing an online one.
oh yeah,
So that's gonna take some planning. So we're gonna do it like, so if you as a guest, you come on, we do a quick intro for you. You come on, 30 minutes, you just talk, we go off screen. Then the last 15 minutes is going to be a Q&A.
I see.
So I think we're doing, are we doing a 24-hour or 10-hour? We're doing a long time anyway. So
imagine 24 hours. We had discussed doing the weekend, doing 2 days.
Oh, 2 days, over 48 hours. That's what I was going to do.
Not a full 48 hours.
I cannot stay awake that long. Right.
I almost had a heart attack from all the Celsius I drank during the 24. So
yeah, nine cans of energy drink or thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
So right.
Anyway, moving on.
Quick question from Dean P. What information do we have about the plasmoids? I've never heard of them, so I don't even know.
I don't know whether Dean's talking about. Is he talking about what Paul calls the ILFs, like intelligent life forms? Is that what we're talking about?
Could be. I don't know if
Plasmoids.
Paul.
Does he mean the ones seen that the drones are seem to be monitoring? Is that maybe what he's talking about?
See, I've seen the plasma UFO dropping plasma balls, just dripping them down. But
yeah, they're
the same size and shape. That was weird.
Yeah, it seems to me that whatever these drones are, I think there is maybe. Look, we don't know whether it's all part of this agenda, do we? But it wouldn't surprise me if they were monitoring something genuine, because the ILFs or the plasmoids or the amber gamblers that some people call them, the Foo Fighters, they do seem to be genuine UFOs, because back in the 20s and 30s and 40s they were seeing them. So and the life, so they're interesting, aren't they? They seem genuine to me, genuinely what they are and what their agenda is. I mean, you could argue that if they wanted to do something destructive, they've certainly got the means to do it.
Yeah, they'd do it straight away if they, like you said, if they wanted to. Who's going to stop him?
Exactly.
Unless they don't. If they were smart and they didn't want some form of retaliation, then they would do it in possibly the way that they are doing it, and that is via genetically do it that way, because that's how I believe that they're doing it. They're doing it genetically, and it's been going on for a long time. That's why we're in the situation that we're in now. Yeah,
get that.
How do we politically get ourselves in such a dark place? Well, how do we do it? Who's in charge of it? Who's doing it?
Well, they.
Yeah.
They with the dodgy mustaches, Charlie Chaplin and his clan.
Yeah, it's that bloody Chaplin.
Moving on again.
Yeah.
Nicknames. Sorry if I missed this. What's Chris working on next, and where in the UK has he not visited that is an area of interest?
Do you know where I've not been? And I'm actually going in a few months. We're going to Rendlesham. So I've never been to Rendlesham.
Oh my God.
Yeah, never been to Rendlesham. And did you know Derek Savory?
Yes.
Yeah, pity. Such a shame Derek passed away last year, didn't he? So
yeah,
he'd invited.
Yeah, I was going to meet up with him, and then 2 weeks later, shit.
Yeah, such a shame. Really nice guy, Derek, and he'd invited us down, and of course, with everything going on in there, I think that's one of the definite hotspots. People still think that that's just all 1980 Christmas Rendlesham thing. It's not. You know, Bentwaters. That was the only thing. It's much more.
Yeah, we've heard female voices. We've seen flat orange orbs go across the floor, 2 lots of 2. We've had humming noises above our heads. We've had energy change with a trimeter on a tree, and the starts going up. A tree in the middle of the forest. There's no pipelines, there's no water, there's no electric, there's no gas pipes, nothing. Just put it on the tree. I've got a video. It's on the YouTube channel. You can see it. And it's like, how is that even possible? We're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah,
I believe it's from what I hear, and obviously Brenda Butler is the sort of the authority on as well with stuff down there, and Paul's good friends with her. So hopefully we can touch base with Brenda. And there's a lot going on down there, you know.
Yeah, Alex Lovelock, he's another one that he goes there quite a lot. I've met up with him 3 times now, I think. I'm going to be meeting up again over the next few months. It's about a 2-hour drive for me, so it's not too bad.
Can we squeeze one more quick question?
Yeah, it's a good day out, if nothing else.
We got one more.
Yep. And last question from 40 and 23. Who have been the major influences you took it off in Chris's thinking? Any particular authors or researchers he might recommend to expand our understanding of what's going on? Thanks.
Yeah, quite a few really. I think going subject by subject, I think that's the way you've got to go, because what I said earlier about dipping your toe in all of these areas, that's the way to do it if you want to get if you want to understand the bigger picture. And I would say from the reptilian research and ET research, you want to be looking at Carla Turner's research from the researcher from the 90s. James Bartley is the guy into the reptilian stuff. Definitely David Icke's stuff from the reptilian stuff from a slightly different angle, 2 different angles. Icke's stuff is much more interdimensional. James is his personal full-on experience and dealing with hundreds of and counselling hundreds and hundreds of witnesses. It's definitely John Keel. Some of Jacques Vallée, I would have said. But even, some of the guys that I respect in the genre would probably be just people like Richard Dolan is one that I like. Richard Dolan, very grounded, very sensible in what he's saying. Who else? I mean, look, there's loads. Obviously, Paul Sinclair for what he does on the ground. He's a good friend of mine, obviously, but you can't not respect someone that's pretty much dedicated the life to it. And I think I saw anybody that does that I respect, in the cryptid world. Some of the American guys that are out there doing this day in, day out. Yeah, this is so many. I mean, I like a lot of the American researchers that do look into the woo, actually. And actually, you know what? I know people are going to probably raise an eyebrow here, but I actually quite like Todd Standing. I don't buy into his Bigfoot footage personally. The jury's out with that. Some people do, some people don't. But as an actual researcher and a guy getting out there and doing the research, I think you've got to respect Todd Standing. He's very confident in himself, I'll say that much. But you can't, the guy's out there doing the business. So, there you
go.
You got to respect him.
Yeah. So when did you say you go in Rendlesham?
I don't know. Where Paul and I go in, so obviously to get both our diaries in a situation where we're both doing nothing, we're both free. Because Paul's juggling. I mean, I've got a lot of balls in the air, but Paul's got a lot more balls in the air with family and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And other things going on. So, and we're all, everybody's busy these days, aren't they? We're all busy. I think we've all just got used to being busy, which is weird, really, because we sit down on a Friday night and wonder why we're so knackered, and we don't realise. Well, it is productive. It's just we're killing ourselves in the process. You know, someone messaged me actually today, and it was a nice message actually, and he just said, "Chris, you look absolutely shattered," and he's right. I do. I feel shattered. I'm not getting out much. Just recently I'm working a lot, so
yeah,
he's right. I should just take the foot off the gas a little bit, and he's probably right there. As should we all, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I say that as I went straight from work to the show, and now I'm going straight to a meeting to set up a location for an event.
Yeah, but it's only 5:30 there. You've still got all night. I'm going to bed in like 5 minutes.
Dedication.
So yeah. But massive thank you, Chris, for coming on. It's been too long to get you on the show. So hopefully you'll come back on again.
Sure.
So I was asking about Rendlesham because I thought if you wanted to come on after you've been there and talk about it, with you not going there previously. So
yeah,
I know you know what.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I just get, when you get a feeling about a place, I think we all have this when we go to a place and we want to get some evidence. Yeah. When you get the feeling you're going to get something, I think we might just get something. So
yeah, but the thing is, when I've got evidence, but I never got it on film. It's just with my eyes or my ears.
Well, to be honest, I'd be happy with that. I would be happy with that. So
excellent. Right. So thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you subscribers. Thank you members. Thank you Nicole. Also listen to this on Podcast Player, Apple and Spotify. There's loads of others, but they're the only two that I'm going to rhyme off anytime soon. So join us again on Friday, where our guest is going to be Kate Hairgirl Ray. Hopefully she's going to be talking about the Woollerton Gnomes, which I went up to Woollerton Hall last year to see if I could find any. No, nothing there. They probably are there. There's probably watching me, just like there's that idiot again, not a chance. So yeah, thank you again, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, I've enjoyed it, Andy, Nicole, really enjoyed it. Nice and informal, and just look, we love this, talking about everything and nothing, don't we? So it's cool.
Yep.
Exactly. 100%. Right, so going to end it now. Thank you, Og, Chiro Sounds, Midwest, and Nickname for doing the modding. And we will see you Friday at the same time. So take care, everyone. And I hope this works. See you 8:30. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.